Hello everyone, my name is KirbyCraft Games and welcome to my first ever Pokemon challenge. Can I beat Pokemon Black with a team of only one Riolu? Riolu is a baby Pokemon from the Sinnoh region. Its base stats are a little worse than that of a first form starter. It's a pure fighting type with a relatively decent attack and speed, although its special is rather poor, so we're not going to be using that at all. For moves, it's rather mediocre level up wise. Outside of Force Palm at level 11, and Reversal at level 19, I don't see anything that we'll possibly use. The TM pool looks promising though. I see some excellent type coverage in here, as well as some setup moves to buff our physical attack even more, if we can even get to them, that is. Before I explain the rules of this challenge, I just want to say thank you to Madrybird on YouTube for inspiring me to attempt a solo Pokemon run of my own. I've watched almost every single one of his own and wanted to try and do this one. With that out of the way, let's get on to the rules. In battle, I can only use Riolu. I can use other Pokemon outside of battle for HMs, but I'm not allowed to use them inside of battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items and items outside of combat are allowed. Just a note ahead of time, I'm writing the script for this video as I'm going through recording, similar to how MPB does. So if the wording gets a bit weird, I apologize. English is my first language, and we all know how that is. Enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like. If it gets popular enough, I'll do some more for y'all. Now then, with that all out of the way, let's jump right into the run. First things first, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Oshawott with Riolu. I chose to replace Oshawott so that Sharon would have Superior, probably the hardest for me to beat. Well then, I didn't expect to nearly be taken out by Bianca in the first battle of the game. I can't even reset to get an ideal nature because we're already struggling against Bianca. What's funny is, the first Sharon fight was easier than Bianca. Snivy only hit me once with Tackle and then proceeded to spam Leer for the rest of the fight. I guess because it realized Tackle wouldn't be able to kill me before I could kill it? I honestly don't know. After the fight, I checked to her nature is. Got the Empress nature, which sacrifices some of Riolu's special attack for more defense, which is nice to have. Our ability is Inner Focus, which gives us immunity to flinching. Really good to have early on due to a lot of trainers having Pokemon that know the move Bite. I named her Risky because I thought it'd be funny. So technically this is the first time I ever played Gen 5, so I'm going in mainly blind. I know of a few things in the game, like Lenore's Watchog being a menace, and the Electric Gym really liking the spam Volt Switch on its Emolga. That's about it. Alright, first Gen fight. I tried to use Counter hoping it would chip away at Purloin's health, but it did just so much damage as Quick Attack, so I just went for Quick Attack instead. We won while only losing about half of our health, due to the end deciding to use Growlithe at scratch. Our first counter was a failure, but still, we won in the end. After that, we started making our way towards the first gen. Spent what money I had on healing items to have in between trainer battles on our way there. Force Palm should be more than enough to beat Solan in its Pan Stage. Before that, however, we have our first real fight against Bianca. She only spammed Leer on her Lillipup, which allowed us to beat it easily. We leveled up and learned the move Force Palm, our first real damaging move. We tried it out against her Tepig, who was immediately paralyzed, and despite us having our defense dropped 4 or 5 times at this point, she decided to use Tail Whip instead, which sealed her fate. And with that, we're in Stradian City. We healed up at the Poke Center before making our way to the trainer school to fight Sharon. Sharon's fight went better than I expected. Force Palm paralyzed Snivy instantly, who then went down to a couple more quick attacks. He then followed up with Purloin, who got one shot by Force Palm. With that, we get some more berries, which I gave one to Risky in case he gets low health, then made our way to fight Solan. Okay, first gym time. Solan leads with Lillipup, who went down to a single Force Palm. Next up is his ace, Pan Stage. Took up right away, but it didn't matter. Risky's Force Palm dropped him down to half health, alongside inflicting with paralysis. What are the odds of Force Palm doing that again? Only 30% or something like that? Seems to be proccing a lot more than it should. With that, the trio badge is ours, giving us a TM for Workup. A decent TM which increases our offensive stats by 1 stage, as well as allowing us to use the only required HM in Pokemon Black, Cut. With that out of the way, let's start heading towards the second gym. After taking care of Team Plasma in the Dream Yard, I grabbed whatever healing items I could reach in the area before going down Route 3. Risky grew to level 15 during that fight, which allowed us to learn Fight, a move that bypasses both Protect and Detect. Good to have. Once we get to Route 3, we had our next fight with Sharon. It wasn't much of an issue considering Snivy only used Leer and Growth during the entire fight before it went down, and Purrloin's a dark type, so a single Force Palm takes it out instantly. We saved a little girl's Pokemon from Team Plasma, whose Patrat's only wanted to target Sharon's Snivy with bites, so thanks for being a meat shield. After that, we made our way to Nacrene, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's the home of Lenora's normal type gym. Watchog shouldn't be an issue, it just depends on whether or not we're faster than it or not. Second gym time. I spent a lot longer on the puzzle than I'd like to admit. My inexperience with this game really shows, considering I had no clue what the puzzle was. I sped it up just so you're not getting secondhand embarrassment for me not knowing how it works. Once we beat it, I healed up and then came back to fight Lenora. First attempt didn't go so well. Herdier has Intimidate, so we're immediately weakened at the start. We paralyzed them with Force Palm, so they didn't get a chance to hurt us. But then the real threat showed itself. Her Watchog, who immediately outspeeds us and puts us to sleep. Then she decides to weaken us with Leer before actually attacking us and retaliate. Since she didn't use it on the first turn, we lived with a single health, paralyzed it with Force Palm, but couldn't get the 2-shot. With that defeat out of the way, I decided to go grind an Pinball Force for a few levels. I could use Timber and Sock to grind up some attack EVs, which should hopefully allow us to beat Watchog faster. Here's hoping. Back again at level 22 for the rematch. Herdier goes down with 2 Force Palms, but hits us with Leer, dropping our defense. Watchog comes out the next turn and also hits us with Leer, making Retaliate to hit us next turn 1-shot us regardless if they use it turn 1 or not. I'm going to try a few more times, see if I can get lucky. Okay, a couple of attempts later, and it's obviously need to outspeed Watchog if I ever want to win this fight. Herdier either brings us down to low health using Takedown, or drops our defense with Leer. Either way, Watchog will come out the next turn and uses Retaliate to finish us off. I'll grind up to level 25. Here's hoping that's enough to outspeed Watchog. Okay, here's our stats level 25. While our attack stat is pretty good and our speed is passable, the rest of our stats are kind of concerning. I just hope this is enough to beat Lenore. First attempt at level 25. Herdier got taken down to red health from a single Force Palm. It was paralyzed, so they didn't get a chance to weaken us with Leer. I wanted to take it out with Quick Attack, but Lenore used a Super Potion and healed it up. Quick Attack brought it down just low enough for Force Palm to finish it off though. Next up's the real test, Watchog, which we were able to outspeed, and a critical Force Palm resulted in a 1-shot. Did we need the crit to win? I don't think we did, but I don't want to find out either. With that, we gained the basic badge, and can move on to the Bug-type gym. Small bit of sidetracking first throughout Pinwheel Forest. Gotta beat us some Team Plasma grunts to take back a Dragonite skull. Once we gave the skull back to Lenora, I healed up at the nurse outside of Pinwheel Forest, then crossed the famous Skyro Bridge to Castelia City. I did some exploring around the city first because I had no clue where I was going, before I eventually found my next story beat for the game. I obtained the TM for Rest from a hiker in one of the office buildings, as well as the amulet coin after assembling the dancer team. Speaking of the dancer team, here's a fun little fact. They're off-centered with a fountain. I can't unsee it, and neither should you. After I finally found out where I was going, it seems that Sharon beat me to the gym first, and he obtained the insect badge. Though Berg wasn't doing any more gym battles for the time being due to Team Plasma showing up and stealing Bianca's Munna. Why would they do such a thing? Munna's just a precious little bean Pokemon. Once we found where they ran off to, we beat up the grunts guarding the entrance to the little makeshift headquarters, then went in to get back Bianca's Munna. Once we're inside, we confront Getsus and 2 of the other Saviors, who just gave back Munna. That's awfully nice of them. Once Getsus finished up his latest thesis on why humans and Pokemon should be together, I healed up and went to challenge Berg at the Bug-type gym. I decided to replace Fight with Retaliate before going in. due to bug types resisting any fighting type moves, as well as equipping Riolu with a Pecha Berry, which was immediately eaten by the first Sawato I fought, and then getting poisoned immediately afterwards due to Venipede having Poison Point. Love this game already. The penultimate trainer of the gym nearly took me out, but thankfully a max powered reversal, even though it was resisted, was able to seal me the win. I really need to remember to heal after each fight when it comes to this gym. Okay, first attempt at Berg, and we would take down his Whirlipede rather nicely to retaliate. But then he immediately sends out his ace, Leavanny, a fully evolved Pokemon who's super fast and can cut us down with Razor Leaf in a matter of seconds. I only got two options at this point: brute force until I get lucky, or grind. A few attempts at just brute force in the fight shows me one thing: I'll either die to Whirlipede spamming Screech with followed up by Poison Tail, or Leavanny just comes out and cleans us up. Guess grinding is my only option. Okay, grind time. What you're currently watching is about a 10-minute grind session of me in Route 4. I'm only grinding out in Route 4 is because every encounter here gives me attack ease. So suffering through the sandstorm is a worthwhile sacrifice in order for me to, hopefully, two-shot Whirlipede. I ground up until I got Risky up to level 30. Hopefully this little increase in attack is just enough for us to get past Leavanny. If not, I'll try again in a couple levels. First attempt at level 30. Whirlipede went down relatively easily, but Leavanny used a String Shot immediately, and we just lose to that. We'll try again, and this time go for Quick Attack spam, instead of trying for Retaliate. A few attempts later, and here's one where we actually got to Leavanny. And it just went as poorly as the last time. If we don't get a high roll on the second Retaliate, Berg will just heal up Whirlipede with Hyper Potions. I mean, we're just in an endless stalling portion for it while it chips away at our health. And if it gets us down too low, I just reset anyhow due to Razor Leaf will just obliterate us. Guess I'm going back to the Sandstorm. Before I start our next grind session, I picked up the Eviolite, buffing our defensive stats by 20% if we're able to evolve. Since we're never going to evolve Risky during this entire run, it should help out a lot. Okay, here's the entire session from me going from level 30 to level 31. This is about a 15-minute clip that I have sped up to cover this little voiceover segment that I'm doing right now. While I'm doing this grind up to level 35, which I assume is going to be the only way I'm going to be able to beat Leavanny, I just want to say, shout out to my friend Vance. They're the one who made the absolutely amazing artwork for this video. I've gotten plenty of art from them over the years, and they were eager to let me commission them for something different. Heck, they even out of their way to even measure the dimensions for a YouTube thumbnail, so this art perfectly fits within those diameters. Link to their Twitter account will be in the descriptions, since they don't want a full-blown shout out, but I decided to do it anyhow. They're a good friend. Rematch time once again. Whirlipede gets taken down within 2 Retaliates, and then the true final boss appears, Leavanny. We took it to a little under half health with 1 Retaliate, and it decided to use String Shot instead of attacking me. With this, we were able to seal the win against his ace. Wobble was then set out, but it was taken down with a single use of Force Palm. With that out of the way, I could finally start progressing towards what I thought would be the first true hurdle of this run, the Electric-type gym. I healed up before making my way out to Route 4 in order to fight Bianca. Bianca's rival fight was relatively easy. The only ones who weren't taken down in a single hit were Hermona and Pignite, who both lived on a sliver of health just for Bianca to heal them up with potions. She didn't even get a single hit off on them before she was done. After the Bianca fight was another fight against Sharon, but due to our over-leveling thanks to Berg, it was a pretty easy sweep, though his newly acquired P-Dub will be initial later on. I'm pretty sure of it. I continued my trek into the Sandstorm, hunted down any helpful items or TMs that I could find. Even made my way up to the desert resort so I could get Rock Tomb, which should be helpful for Namasa City. We helped the daycare man fend off against Team Plasma, and he gave us a bike in return. I chased Team Plasma down into the amusement park, where we run into End once again. He took us on a ride in the Ferris wheel, where he told us that he was the king of Team Plasma, and why he wants to free all Pokemon from the trainers using the Black Dragon Zekrom. Why am I telling you all this? I don't know. I just wanted to give an excuse for how long this clip of End was before we fought him. First fight against Team Plasma N almost went horribly wrong. Sandile went down rather easily, but then he sends out his Sigilif, who can tank and retaliate and then sets up Tailwind, allowing it to outspeed us and hits us with a Psybeam. Next up was Darumaka, who got us down to just 9 health before I used Dig, allowing us to one-shot it as Tailwind petered out. Great timing. With that, Risky was able to land a max power reversal on Scraggy, taking it out. After that, I went to the Pokemon Center to heal up and buy a few TMs from the store. Did I need to buy anything besides return? No, but I forgot what Riolu could learn at the moment and my internet was down, so I couldn't really look at it. Okay, Electric Gym time, and we immediately face a problem. Emolga knows Aerial Ace, which takes out a third of our health in a single attack. And the second one took us down with a crit. Let's try again and hope she doesn't crit us. Second attempt goes a bit better, but not good. We got paralyzed by Zebstrika and lost our damaging turn of Dig from being paralyzed underground, only to lose the quick attack the very next turn. One more try, and hope we don't get paralyzed by Zebstrika. Third attempt, and the first Emolga goes down to a single Rock Tomb. But I lost due to Rock Tomb missing the second Emolga, which left me in the red, allowing Zebstrika to come out and beat us with quick attack. I can beat this. I can totally beat this. A few attempts later, and we got this run. Both Emolga went down to a single Rock Tomb. If Zebstrika didn't paralyze us with Spark, meaning we could use Dig and win the fight against Elisa. We gained the Bolt badge, and allows us to make our way towards the 5th gym. A little bit of sidetracking first, we went with Bianca towards the musical theater, as well as obtaining a little dress-up case for Riolu. Once we left there, we ran to her father, who begged her to come home. After a conversation between her and her father, Elisa showed up. Bianca's dad eventually came to his senses and allowed her to continue. Okay, onwards to Route 5 and the next Charon fight. He led with Liepard, which we took out in a single Force Bomb, but next up was his Tranquil. I went for Rock Tomb and missed, which allowed him to land a critical Air Cutter to take us down to under half health. I then decided to switch to Force Palm, which he detected the first turn before we landed one, which dropped down to low health. He then used Air Cutter again, which dropped us down to only 20 health right as we got the knockout. Panpour and Servii both went down the Force Palm, so it was another victory for us. Afterwards, Elisa introduced us to Champion Alder. He asked us to do a double battle against a pair of preschoolers that had hurt ears. Wasn't an issue for us due to Force Palm being Force Palm. Afterwards, Elisa made a call, which allowed us to drop the Driftvale Bridge so we could move on in the Driftvale City. Once we crossed the bridge and entered Driftvale City proper, Gym Leader Clay tasked us to finding out where the Team Plasma Grunts ran off to. Do that, and we'll be able to challenge his gym. We found them down in the Cold Storage area. And while you watch me go through here to reach Team Plasma, I just want to say, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, comment what your favorite part of this challenge was. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. We stumbled upon a large group of Team Plasma Grunts keeping one of the 7 sages, Zinzolin, warm. When discovered that they had been found, we had to battle against them. None of them were a problem, and once we'd beaten them all, Clay and several workers of the Cold Swords area came and arrested them, and escorted them off. I healed up and made my way to Clay's gym. The gym itself was actually rather interesting, although the constant ups and downs hid my game lag a bit, but I'm not sure if it shows in the footage. Outside of taking the wrong elevator once or twice, I made it to Clay pretty fast. Once I figured out the path proper, I left, healed up again, came back fresh, ready to fight. Okay, Clay was basically a one-shot sweep. The only Pokemon we didn't OHKO right away was Palpitoad, who just set up Aqua Ring instead of actually fighting back. With that, I obtained the Quake Badge. Okay, so the next Bianca fight might be an issue. Muna has evolved into Musharna and really likes to put us to sleep. Let me try getting a Chesto Berry, see if that changes anything. Alright, that didn't go to plan. Musharna decided not to use Hypnosis at all this time, and just two-shot me using Psy Beam instead. What's up with Bianca being more of a threat right now than Cheryl? Kinda concerning. Well then, guess I'm grinding outside the Cold Swords area so I can beat Bianca. Thankfully, there's Herdier and Timber, so I can bump up my attack even more, as well as Minccino to slightly increase my speed. Should be helpful in case of any potential speed ties in the future. During this grinding session, I just want to ask, what's your favorite Gen 5 Pokemon? It can be from a personal preference, design-wise, or just their competitive prowess. While grinding, I found a protein, and when I went to use it, I discovered that my attack EVs have been maxed. Good to know, I can just level grind then. Okay, a couple levels later, and we're back for a rematch. Musharna is still a 3-shot for us right now, but at least it doesn't seem to be caring about using Defense Curl or Hypnosis. I'll keep at it, maybe it's just a damage roll I need. Before I attempt it again, I realized that I had just enough Pokemon received in the Pokedex that I could get the Shell Belt. Maybe that bit of self-healing will help instead of me trying to use the EV like 3 extra defense buffs. We'll try it out. Next attempt went decently well. Musharna missed Hypnosis on the first turn while we dropped her down to just under half health. I decided to use Dig the next turn in case she tried to go for Hypnosis again, but instead we went for a Defense Curl. Dig took her down to roughly a quarter of her health as she missed Hypnosis again. We used Return to drop her down to only a sliver of health as she used Lucky Charm. Bianca then popped a Hyper Potion as I tried to bring money down. While continuing to dodge Hypnosis, I tried using Force Palm to hopefully paralyze her, to try and get some free hits off without her increasing her defense or hurting us, but to no avail. She used Defense Scroll again. The next turn drops her down to a sliver of health yet again, as she finally decided to attack us and drop us down to 40 health with a single use of Psy Beam. Bianca then healed up Musharna again, but to the point where it's just a lost cause. We can't defeat her without a crit, and we can't get a crit because Lucky Chant exists. And I can't get any better TMs to help against Musharna until I get past Bianca. Guess I'm back to grinding. Okay, after nearly an hour of grinding the next day, we're up to level 45, and trying Bianca again. Herdier goes down as usual. The only thing really harming us is it using Intimidate, dropping our attack stat. Musharna used Lucky Chant our first turn out as we dropped her to half health with return. The next return drops her down to a sliver of health once again. I feel like I've been here before. She used Defense Scroll, buffing up her defense. Yeah, definitely a case of deja vu. Bianca used a Hyper Potion on her next turn as I continued my onslaught of return. She finally decides to attack using Psy Beam, dropping us down to exactly half health. I use Return, which dropped her down to the red once again, healing off of Shell Belt. Thankfully, the Shell Belt heal helps us, as we are dropped down to a single hit point left from her next Psybeam as Lucky Champ wears off. Bianca used another Hyper Potion, healing Money back to full, as we take her out with a critical return, which gave us the win. Thank goodness I didn't have to grind up any higher. Rustling grass in the cold storage area was such an annoyance that I was just praying to get Herdier encounters since they give the most XP outside of rustling grass. I got the Charged Stone Cave, getting the TM Bulldoze from Clay in the process, and was ambushed by the Shadow Trio, who escorted me to N. N told me he would wait at the end of the cave for a fight, so that's where I went. After a while of following the Team Plasma Grunts, I reached the end of the cave, thus finding N. His fight wasn't difficult at all. I used Return on Boldore to break Sturdy, before sweeping his entire team with Force Palm and Rock Slide. With that done, we arrive at Miss Tralton City, home of the Flying type gym. The gym leader is currently unavailable, however, due to her going to the Celestial Tower to check on what she believes to be a said Pokemon. Guess we'll go up there and try to find her. I battled my way through the various psychic trainers and Litwicks until I reached the top, where Skyla had already healed the injured Pokemon and said I could ring the bell since I came all the way up here for no reason. I rang the bell, so he told me she'd be waiting at the gym. On my way back down, I grabbed a TM that'll be useful later on, and made my way to the gym. While battling the gym trainers, Risky grew to level 50, so here's our stats. Our attack is our only true good stat, so basically now it's a game of one shot, get one shot, which worries me since Skyla has a lot of fast flying types on her team. Okay, first attempt at Skyla, and I'm pretty confident we can win. We nearly one-shot all of her Pokemon, and if it wasn't for Unfezant's ability to deal critical hits more often, I'm positive we could have won. Let's try it again. Attempt, and we got through it without taking a single hit of damage. Subat died before it could do anything. Unfezant only used Leer that dropped our defense, and Swanna set up an Aquawing to try and heal, giving us the win. Truth be told, I was worried about this fight, but apparently the grinding needed to just beat Bianca gave me enough to outspeed her main threats. I was just able to pelt him with a rock to the win. With that, we obtain a Jet Badge, and can now go through Twist Mountain and head towards Icarus City. Once I left the gym, I was ran into by N, who had a little heart-to-heart with our Riolu before explaining his goal is that of a peaceful conquest of the world, using the legendary dragon. He didn't want to see Pokemon get hurt, and then just leaves. I really wonder about that man. We can make up the mountain. We have another battle against Cher. His first Pokemon that he sent out was Unfezant, which immediately put me on edge because I was terrified of being one-shot thanks to Super Lucky. I used Rock Tomb to try and get rid of it as fast as possible, but it used Detect on the first turn, making us waste a turn. Second turn, Unfezant decided to use Taunt, despite us having no status move, so we just pelted him with Rock Tomb, which brought him down to the brink of defeat, but it lived. And that's with the Expert Belt, so that's either a high damage roll, or it's just that bulky. Next Rock Tomb took him down, next up is Servine. Used Force Palm to drop it down to red health, as Leaf Blade took us down to 60 like it was nothing. Then his Simipour came out, took us down with Scald. Okay, let's try with the Eviolite instead. Next attempt, this time using the Eviolite, and we lost immediately because Unfezant landed a crit. Meaning, anytime we didn't one-shot Sharon's Pokemon, we'll just lose. Wonderful. Next attempt with the Eviolite, and while Unfezant didn't land a crit, it still hurt us pretty badly with Air Slash. Once again, leaving us in the same spot of, we either one-shot everything from this point on, or perish to a single attack. Which is exactly what happened when Servine came out. I can totally beat this without grinding. Fourth attempt, and now I learned we are apparently at a speed tie with Semi-Poor. Meaning if it wins the coin flip twice in a row, we lose. I can do this. I can totally do this. 6 attempts later, and I got to a point where I won a coin flip against Semi-Poor. Yet return doesn't take it out, which means I lose the skull. Guess I really do gotta grind some more. Couple levels later, and we're back for a rematch. This time, nearly went hitless. Only thing that could survive a single attack was Semi-Poor, but he was at such a low health that wasn't an issue. With that minor roadblock done, we're on the road to Twist Mountain. Okay, on to Twist Mountain. I set my game clock forward just enough so it thought it was winter. Just so I could navigate past the mountain without having to try and properly navigate it. I'm only able to record this on my free time, and I didn't have to keep pausing to try and look up a map and navigate the area. Didn't see any TMs that Riolu could learn anyhow, so I just decided let's skip over it and get back to what you truly want, to see me lose. I made my way out of Twist Mountain, bumping into Sharon, who had just beaten off a Team Plasma Grunt, while the rest of them made off with some sort of item from Dragon Spire Tower. Talked to Professor Juniper, who told me about Dragon Spire Tower, before I decided to make my way towards the Ice Gym. Okay, Ice Gym time. I was able to make it all the way to Bryson on my first attempt, although I never really was all that good with the ice puzzles. I only really lost to Bryson thanks to Beartick living a Force Palm and using Swagger, which caused one hit of confusion, dropping us down to roughly a third of our health. I should be able to win this if I can grab the Expert Belt again and not hurt the Swagger. Should be fine. Well then, I reset my save and forgot that I didn't save after exiting Twist Mountain. So here's footage of me going through all of Twist Mountain again. Love how this is the only time I've not saved after healing at a Pokémon Center. I am just intelligent like that. Okay, rematch against Bryson, and with the extra belt, it was a breeze. Nothing even survived a single hit. With that fight done, we've earned the Freeze Badge, leaving only one gym left. Let's not waste any time, start making our way over there. Before we can make our way to the final gym, however, we are given a guest appearance by the Shadow Triad, who informed us that Getsus requests us to go to Dragon Spire Tower, and wishes that we make our appearance. We climbed up the tower, defeating any Team Plasma Grunt along the way, as well as picking up any items that I could see. After the final push of a 4 Plasma Gauntlet, I went to the Pokémon Center, restored my power points, and then made it back to where I was to continue my ascension. Which was apparently pointless, because N flies off on Zekrom the moment I get up to the top, telling us to find Reshiram. So I just made my way back down to the bottom, only to be informed by Champion Alder that Reshiram should be within Relic Castle. So I guess that's my new destination. After catching a Tranquil in the nearby grass and teaching it fly, we're back to the Desert Resort, so we can enter the Relic Castle. While battling my way through, I chose the Plume Fossil, because I just like Argent. He's a funny little guy. Relic Castle is such a strange place. Sand pits always seem so weird. Even when I just walk on them, I lose my footing like I was running. I don't know if it's the input lingering for a moment when I walk on the sand pits or not, but it doesn't matter. We fought Plasma Grunts, navigated our way to the bottom of the castle, only to find out that Getsus said that our white stone is in another castle, or in this case, museum, if Juniper's trying to call meant anything. Back at the Nat Green City Museum, and we are greeted by Alder, Bianca, the Professor Junipers, and Lenora. They discovered that an item in the museum was actually the white stone from Relic Castle. They're not sure how to resurrect Reshiram from within the stone, but Lenora suggested that we ask them, gym leaders of Uplucid City, Drayden and Iris. So I guess that's our next objective. With that information, I flew back to Icarus City, and then decided to make my way towards Uplucid City. But first, we have another issue of a rival fight. Bianca and Mooney have once again proved that she's the real threat of this run, not Sharon. And they call Bianca the pushover rival. I'll come back when I'm level 60, see if that's enough. Okay, rematch level 60. We made Bianca waste both of her full restores on Stoutland, thanks to it dropping our attack with Intimidate. We also somehow were able to inflict paralysis on Stoutland 3 times in a row from Force Palm. Then, we OHKO'd Sharna thanks to a critical return. Then both Embor and Semisage both fell within 2 hits each. With that done, we crossed the 2-blind bridge, had a brief run-in with the Shadow Triad and Getsus, before going through Route 9. We beat a biker's pawn yard. They made our way into Uplucid City, home of the Dragon-type gym leaders, Drayden and Iris. Once we entered the city, we saw that Getsus and a small group of plasma grunts were making a statement to the citizens of the city, basically describing the last few plot points that we've had, before they left. After a quick talk with Drayden and Iris, Drayden told me to face him at the gym, so that's my next goal. The Dragon Gym's puzzle was easy enough, although I forgot to heal after one too many fights and lost to a random trainer thanks to rough skin. I just took the slight loss of money and healed up at the Poke Center and just ran back. Most of my money at this point's in healing items anyhow, so I didn't really care. Okay, Gym Leader Drayden time. Fracture set up a Dragon Dance, but it got paralyzed due to Force Palm, so the potential speed buff it got was null and void. We took some more damage off of Rust's skin than Druddigan's actual attack, which seemed rather funny, and Hackers only used Dragon Tail, but since I only have Riolu, its special effect of swallowing Pokemon in battle didn't activate, so we won the next turn. With Drayden defeated, we get the Legend Badge, and can make our way to the Elite Four and Champion Aller. Before I deal with that though, we have one last rival fight against Sharon. Hey, look! Sharon's starter is actually being a nuisance like I thought it would. Superior knows Coil at this point, buffing both its attack and defense every time it uses it. And since Superior is able to outspeed me, it's guaranteed to at least get one of the Coil off. So if I don't paralyze it from Force Palm immediately, it'll probably set up even more before finishing me off with a Leaf Blade. Okay, back to grinding I guess. I'm spending a lot more money than I would like to on max repels, just because I'm waiting around for Shaking Grass to appear. It's easier to just kill Audinos and the rare spawns that show up from this, rather than just trying to grind off of the normal Pokemon. It's a bit time consuming, yeah, but I don't have to go to the Pokemon Center as often to restore my power points. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Okay, a few attempts at level 65, and this isn't going well at all. For some reason Unfizzit now lives Rock Tomb. Why? I have no clue. But it means he'll be able to OHKO us with a critical Air Slash or Razor Wind if Super Luck comes into effect. Okay, back again at level 70. Rock Tomb still isn't enough to take out Unpheasant, and since it's not 100 accuracy, it's 10, so I lost about 5 turns to misses, and the one time it would have landed, Unpheasant used Detect. So I just ended up using Return instead. It's more powerful, even without the super effective bonus, but it's still not an OHKO, which means I'm always weak when Superior shows up, so it can finish me off rather easily. After a quick Google search, I realized there's something else I could have instead of Rock Tomb in this situation. Considering this is the last Sharon fight of the main game, I went back to Route 6, used Surf to obtain the TM for Poison Jab. With that and the Expert Belt, it should be just enough to beat Superior. I just need some luck with Unpheasant first. Literally, our first attempt with Poison Jab, and we won. Unpheasant decided to use Taunt instead of actually hurting us. Once again, we have no setup move, so Taunt really doesn't do anything anyhow. But it allowed us to get to Superior with full health. And after getting hit with a Leaf Blade, we O-code Superior, and the rest of Sharon's team, giving us the win. I'm honestly rather surprised that Unpheasant decided to just not attack us. Air Slash or Razor Wind would have hurt pretty bad, since we're running the Expert Belt instead of the Eviolite. But, due to that lack of attacking, we won. That, we can now properly go to Victory Road, and head towards the Elite Four. I got lost in the caverns for a while, since I didn't have my Druddigan who had both Surf and Strength. So this clip you're going to be seeing is going to go on for a while. I'm trying to figure out what to do to fill the time here, while I just let y'all see me try to get to the end, and then watch me blunder by going down the cliffs to get a TM that I didn't even need, because Riolu can't learn it. After this, I just decided to cut the footage and made my way back up to the top of Victory Road. I got back to the top of Victory Road and then entered the Pokémon League, grinding up to level 75 before entering. Here's what our stats look like. We should be fine, especially since I decided to pull up the secret weapon of this run, the TM Shadow Claw. Use a PP max on it that you can get at Relic Castle, give us the most amount of Shadow Claws possible, as well as use all of my money on various healing items, then enter the Pokemon League. Let's start this off properly. Okay, first up is Ghost Trainer Chantel. Cofagrigus survived on a slither of health from a Shadow Claw and landed Will-O-Wisp on us. She then popped a full restore, as a second Shadow Claw dropped it down to half health thanks to Will-O-Wisp blowing our attack. Once in range of a second full restore, as a second Shadow Claw took it out with ease. She then sent out her ace, Chandelure, who finished us off with a single Fire Blast. The fact that Cofagrigus lived off of a single Shadow Claw with the Expert Belt equipped is rather concerning. Maybe it's just a damage roll? Next attempt and we were able to one-shot her entire team. Apparently I just needed a high roll on Cofagrigus, was all we needed to beat her. Don't ask me how, but it did. Next up is Dark Trainer Grimsley. His entire team went down with a single use of Force Palm each. The only Pokemon that he had that dealt any damage to us was his Light Bard using Fake Out. Easy fight. Up next is probably the most difficult member of the Elite Four for us to fight. Psychic Trainer Caitlin. Reuniclus was an easy one-shot, but then the true final boss of the run was sent out. Musharna. We hit a Shadow Claw, which dropped it down to red health, as a Psychic dropped us down to just 11 health. Caitlin healed up Musharna, and then we took it down with a second Shadow Claw. I was pretty much sweating throughout the rest of this fight, hoping that nothing else lived with Shadow Claw, as we sub for the rest of our team. A bit closer than I would like it, but that means there's only one Elite Four member left. Fighting Trainer Marshall. Before entering the final fight, I decided to swap out the Expert Belt for the Eviolite, just for a little bit of extra defense against his fighting type Pokemon. First up is Throw, who we took down thanks to 2 returns. Although he landed a Bulldoze on us, which lowered our speed. Next up was his Conkeldurr, who went down to a single critical return. Next up was his ace, Mian Xiao, who hit us pretty low with a single use of jump kick, but it was taken out with a single force palm. Lastly was Saw, who was able to outspeed us thanks to Throw's bulldoze dropping our speed, and chipped us down with a few uses of Karate Chop. Not how I thought the Elite Four Gauntlet was going to end, but decent surprise. Our next attempt was pretty bad. Throw survived due to a slither of health, so Marshall just heal stalled us, making it so we couldn't even get past his Conkeldurr. Third attempt, and despite not getting hit by a bulldoze, we can't take down Conkeldurr without a crit. So we lose a lot of health due to Hammer Arm, and then Mian Xiao outspeeds us regardless, so we're taken out. Okay, final attempt, then I'll try and use Rare Candies. I swapped over from the Eviolite to the Shell Bell to see if maybe we can tank the damage and heal off thanks to Shell Bell. Throw landed a critical Storm Throw, and then Conkeldurr's Hammer Arm brought us down into red health before we were able to take it out. Mian Xiao lived with a sliver of health and then took me out with a jump kick. Okay, let's try this with a couple of rare candies, bumping me up to level 78. Throw went down to 2 returns, but used Bulldoze to lower our speed. Conkeldurr went the same way, using Hammer Arm to drop us under half health before we took it out. Thanks to Bulldoze's speed drop, Mian Xiao outsped Risky, and landed a jump kick which dropped us down to 9 health, as Return dropped him down to red. Marshall then proceeded to stall for 2 turns with healing items before Risky could take it out. Okay, maybe the Shell Bell strategy will work this time around. Okay, after a few attempts, we got this run where Mian Xiao missed a jump kick and took half of its health in recoil, which allowed us to get to Sock despite being on relatively low health. Sock dropped us down to 22 health with a Karate Chop as we triggered Sturdy with a return. Marshall then proceeded to use the next 2 turns to heal stall as we slowly regained health from the Shell Bell as we continued to trigger Sturdy on each hit, giving us the win the moment Marshall was out of full restores. With that done, we've beaten the Elite Four and can make our way to the final battle against Team Plasma's King, N. Okay, after navigating my way through Team Plasma's castle, I made my way to the final fight of this challenge. Plasma King N. The fight went as I expected it to be. We took out half of our own health, thanks to having to switch into Riolu from Reshiram, so we're already at a disadvantage. We took out Zekrom with a couple of bulldoze, as N decided to set up a light screen before going down. Next up is Clink Clank, who survived on a slither of health and dropped us down pretty low due to Hyper Beam. We took it out the next turn, as well as taking out Vanillux and Zorok with a single Force Palm each, but lost due to his Archeops acrobatics. Next attempt, this time using the Shell Bell, and we were taken out due to a crit from Fusion Bolt. Not a good start. Another attempt, and Zekrom this time 2 hits me with Fusion Bolt instead. This is really not going well. Okay, next attempt at level 80 alongside the Eviolite, and we were once again taken down with a crit from Fusion Bolt, making us lose. I'm thinking getting to Archeops on my first attempt was just a fluke. A few attempts later, and we're finally onto this run where we're not obliterated by Fusion Bolt immediately, because Zekrom seems to have a second ability in that of Super Luck. Every other attempt I try this fight, he opens up with a Fusion Bolt, landing a crit, so I just reset the run. We blitzed our way back to Archeops thanks to that, and Acrobatics takes us down to 31 health as we took it out with a Force Palm. Last out was Caracosta, who lived in red health with a Force Palm, got paralyzed, and finished us off with Waterfall. So close to winning. Let's try the Shell Bell strat again. Okay, a few attempts, of trying with the Shell Belt, and it's clear to me that we need to use the Eviolite, or else Zekrom will always follow up with a second Fusion Bolt. I'm going to try a few more runs, but adding a rare candy after each few failed runs, starting at level 81. We get back to Caracosta after only 2 attempts and end up triggering Sturdy, but he finishes off with Waterfall. So I'm either going to need more levels just to have enough health to live against Caracosta, or enough bulk to make it so I'm not forced to use the Eviolite and I can switch over to the Shell Bell, heal my way through this fight. A few tries with different items at different levels, and I can only reach Caracosta if I have the Eviolite equipped. But now at such a low health when I reach Caracosta, I have to rely on Force Palm's Paralysis chance just to win. Because Fusion Bolt at the beginning of the fight cripbles me so badly, I can't survive a single waterfall. First attempt at level 85. Still holding on to the Eviolite, and we managed to get to Caracosta once again. And for the first time this entire session against N, we paralyzed it with Force Palm, giving us the win. Another roadblock said and done for. With that, we get to the true final fight, Getsus. And despite trying my hardest on my first attempt, I decided to just lose to Getsus so I can drop Reshiram into the box so I'm not forced to constantly switch into Riolu on each attempt. But here's how far I got through Getsus on my first try. Okay, back at Getsus with just Risky this time. I decided to swap over to the Expert Belt from the Eviolite just to try and power through Getsus a little faster. Cofagrigus went down to 2 hits of Shadow Claw, but it sealed our fate thanks to using Toxic. But we were able to make it to Electros before actually going down to the Poison. I should be able to take down Cofagrigus before it hits us with Toxic. It just seems to be another damage roll hurdle is all. Next attempt, and Cofagrigus missed Toxic, so we were able to continue through the fight without being on a timer. We lost about half of our health thanks to Hydreigon, and got hit by Wild Charge from Electros, and it ended up being enough for Seismitoad to finish us off. Maybe the Eviolite's needed for this fight too. I hope it isn't. I'm gonna pop a rare candy, get to level 86, see what that does for me. A few attempts later, and we get this one where we're not Toxic stalled at the very beginning by Cofagrigus. We took it out with a single crit, breezed through Bouffalant and Hydreigon as usual, then we got to Electros, whose Wild Charge took us to nearly half health before it gets to use the Full Restore on it, as we took it out thanks to it no longer having Levitate. Then Seismitoad showed up. I was worried that Earthquake would demolish us, but it used Rain Dance instead, which gave us the win against Getsus. And with that, the challenge is done. I've successfully beaten Pokemon Black with only one Riolu. And while yes, we didn't technically become the champion, this is the end of the main story, so I thought it was a good place to end off. We've overcome every roadblock in our path, from Berg's Whirlipede and Levani combo, to Skyla's flying types, and the 3 different times we got roadblocked by Bianca and her Masharna. If y'all want to see me challenge the champion with Riolu, let me know by leaving a like on this video. I'll try to get that as soon as possible. Maybe even have an extra challenging fight added on at the end as well. But with that, my name is KirbyCraft Games. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Ring the bell for more.